My father has been into cars ever since I've been born. His first car he bought in around 1965, I think. It was a 29 Model A four-door blind back sedan. Him and my mother actually got married in it and went on their honeymoon. He still owns the car to this day. He has many cars. He prefers the brass era cars. So his oldest car is a 1906 Buick, and they kind of go up from there. He's got a 1912 Overland. He's got a 1915 Chevy. He's got a 1918 Buick. He's got a 55 Chevy that's actually a very nice California car, and that's what I remember the most, and kind of got me into hot rodding. He bought that when I was young enough to ride with him to go get it, and he still owns that car till this day. So he kind of introduced me to the hot rod, or the car scene, I should say, not the hot rod scene. My dad is a very much all original guy. You don't modify anything. If it came that way, that's how it needs to be. That's how it should be. So you don't do anything that is not original. Well, I never got on that same boat. So it all started with bicycles. So even with bicycles, I tore apart and kind of modified, made bikes my own. And my first car was a '64 Chevelle Super Sport. It was a pretty rough car. I'm from Northern Ohio originally. I'm in Lexington, South Carolina now. So I had a good experience with a good rusted up shell and how to replace sheet metal and get this thing going from the ground up. So I had that car for probably 20 years, and it had paint, interior. It was a 283 4-speed car, and I sold it after probably 20 years of owning it. And I've had other cars in between there, and from there it kind of bloomed into this. I've had a '72 Camaro that I drag raced with a 454 and a turbo 400. I had a '63 Nova 2-door hardtop. I actually modified and made my own subframe before the Heights kits and all that were available, and put a 402 4-speed in that when I was younger, and had a lot of fun with that. It had everything from a 350 small block with tunnel rams to the 402 with a single carb and a 4-speed. Cars today, I have a '60 Cadillac with an all-new drivetrain in it. It's a 6-liter out of a 2006 Escalade. Modern trans, 8.8 rear, 4-wheel disc brake. I tow around my '58 Corvette gasser with that. That's got a blower motor in it. I got a '29 Roadster with a blower motor in it. Hot rods have been my thing. I've fabbed them up. I have one of my dad's friend's cars here it's a '31 Chevy, and I'm putting all modern drivetrain in a all original looking car. So that's a task. Behind me is a '31 Model A Coupe. That was an all original car my father found, and I bought it and put a 400 small block in it, 700 R4, redid the frame and set it down on that, and got a pretty nice low buck bare bones street rod. A bunch of fun. Yeah, all through growing up, I've always had cars. I drag raced early on from high school on up. I had a S10 that the clutch started slipping in it. So I thought that was a perfect opportunity to put a small block Chevy in it and a Power Glide trans. Against my father's wishes, he worked second shift, so that gave me the afternoons to do whatever I wanted. So when the clutch started slipping in the truck, out come the 2.2 liter 4-cylinder and the 4-speed, and in sat 283 and a Power Glide. So that was my first hot rod V8 truck, and that was a ton of fun. I had that for years. That eventually got upgraded to a pretty hot turbo 350. From there, I had the '63 Nova. I was in demolition derbying for a long time. So for about 8 years, I used to find these nice old big cars and crunch them up. So I've had multiple Chrysler Imperials. The majority of them I've wrecked, unfortunately. I did have a very nice '64 Imperial here in South Carolina that I drove every day. So it had a 413 in it with push button trans. I had it flat black, and I had the interior redone and enjoyed it. The downfall of that car was the power window motors and no air conditioning. So I traded that off for a 64 Chevy pickup that was airbagged and laid on the rocker panels. That was a fun truck. Tons of cars throughout my life, but the ones I've enjoyed the most, I've built myself. I had a 30 Model A pickup that I put a 4.3 V6 and a 4L60E trans in. That truck's still running around Columbia, South Carolina, and I drove that thing for probably 5 years until somebody needed it more than I did. The next truck I had was a 34 Ford pickup, and that was actually a truck from the 60s that was a hot rod. It had a chop top, it had a Mercury flathead in it, and it was drum brake. It was a neat pickup that had been sitting since around 1964. I got that from a friend of mine, started digging into it, and I was helping my brother do a 63 Chevy pickup at the same time. My brother was LS swapping his truck, so my traditional build went from a small block Chevy and a 4-speed to an LS swap, kind of following my brother's lead. So the 34 Ford wound up having all AccuAir, air ride, E-level, automatic suspension. It had a 5.3 with a 4L60E, and I drove that truck every day. It went to Mississippi, it went to Ohio, it was in Florida, it was in Tennessee, it covered the whole east coast of the United States. I put about 20,000 miles on that truck in a year, and wound up trading that truck towards my 58 Corvette. I figured, as much as I didn't want to let that truck go, that I could run across another 34 Ford pickup. The days of running across the 58 Corvette were pretty slim, and that truck is now in the Netherlands. So it's overseas, and the gentleman over there, I'm still in contact with him. He enjoys that truck very well. I've had another 34 Ford pickup that I decided I was going to make an all traditional pickup and drive every day. So I wanted something I could take to Trog and then still drive to the Turkey Rod Run. So it had a Mercury flathead in it with a 3-speed that quickly got changed over to a T5 5-speed. But it was all, which took it out of the Trog runnings because you're not allowed to have a modern transmission. But I drove the truck around town here, couldn't get it where I wanted it to be a flathead over-the-road truck. So I ended up parting with that truck. That truck also went to the Netherlands. So both those 34s, two friends own them over in the Netherlands. And he since then put a traditional supercharger on the flathead. Made a very cool ride out of it with the old, I guess you want to call it hair dryer looking supercharger with two barrels on the top. Neat trucks. So today I enjoy drag racing the Corvette. Everything I have is street driven. There is nothing that is a trailer queen or that is not enjoyed. I don't own a perfect paint vehicle. I don't want a perfect paint vehicle. I want to be able to drive these things to car shows. I want kids to get involved with this. I want to promote just anybody who enjoys cars. If you see me out, come talk to me. I got stickers and stuff for the kids that I like to give out. I got some t-shirts made with cars, the cars I own. I'll give out joy rides. It doesn't matter. I've had a few of my cars in a movie that's up and coming this coming summer. It's done by a local film director, Chris Bickle, here in Columbia, South Carolina. The name of the film is Bad Girls. They actually use my 60 Cadillac as the main car in the film, and they use multiple other cars for other scenes in the film. So it's pretty interesting to be a part of the film making process, to know and understand and see how that stuff is done, to work with all the different actors. The coolest things are, the bullet holes and the blood sprays and the wounds. It's pretty neat to see how that's all done behind the scenes. I actually get to wreck my girlfriend's 68 El Camino in the movie. So she is actually the stunt double for the main actress. And if you see the movie, she'll pull up beside me. I'm driving the El Camino. She hangs a revolver out the window and shoots me as we're driving down public highways. So I swerve off into the median, and the film crew takes over from there and make it look like a disaster. So it's pretty neat. Other things I've done, I've been to SEMA this year with Chad Martin from Chad's Custom Dreams. He built a one-off 37 Chevy pickup. He did a lot of this with the help of close friends. And I met Chad through the truck. He was having some issues with some air ride on it, so I helped him get the truck going in the end, and Chad and I are very close friends and have become very close friends. So he took me out to SEMA with him to help with the truck and help drive out there. That was a nice 36-hour ride straight through, only stopping for diesel fuel. So we did that there and back. Through him, I've also met Daryl Starbird, Gene Winfield at a show in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Here in the next month, Sean and I will be trailering the Corvette with the Cadillac to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And we are going to be out at the Starbird show promoting that and enjoying that. So, you know, anything car-wise, it's fun. You'll see me all around the South at Myrtle Beach or Under the Sun, Daytona, Turkey Rod Run, Steel in Motion at Union in May. All of these shows are good traditional hot rod shows that I enjoy very much, and I enjoy building them. I do a lot of work for myself on my own cars. I do a little bit of work for other people, but I enjoy mostly building the cars for myself and enjoying them myself.